G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners. Welcome to Barkarati the Sailing Podcast. My name is Jordan Spencer. It's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course, I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
Is that a cow I see in the background, BP?
Yeah, watch out if the cow walks past. It'll steal my internet. So I'm staying in a cottage in the farmhouse and in Portugal, up in behind Vila de Conde, up next to my factory here. And yes, busy as the proverbial, as they say. But it's all perfect timing for this week because of the show and who we've got on and what I'm actually doing during the day. So
a bit of rigging.
Cool. Bit of rigging, the whole boat, yeah, just happens to be part of our guest's product. So all good.
Yeah, very cool. Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice, where are you, Mr. Bice?
Oh, back in Adelaide.
Wow.
Landed yesterday after almost 7 weeks in the Caribbean.
You suffer for your career, don't you?
Well, one, I suffer for my career, but I found myself just chatting to the dads in the schoolyard yesterday after picking the kids up.
Yeah.
Just talking total rubbish, swearing like a bloody sailor. And then I had to really watch myself. I really had to watch myself last night. My first official dad duty was taking my daughter to a calisthenics concert. So I really had to tone the language down talking to some of the Cali mums.
Yeah, you've come in sailing language. You got to drop back into daddy language.
Yeah, exactly. But I was thinking, because we missed last week, of course, just due to literally straddling the globe.
Yep.
And just timings just didn't work, not to mention even trying to get a guest on due to UBP being in Portugal, yourself in Sydney, myself in Virgin Gorda, doing the North Sound Regatta. Now, this is an episode in itself. To talk about that particular regatta. Imagine this, like it's almost Hamo-esque scenery.
Yep.
Well, it actually is.
As a guest?
It actually is.
As a guest, Bicey?
Well, speaking of Virgin, I've got a Richard Branson story. It's a bloody beauty.
Oh.
But
all right.
Anyway, having competed in the North Sound Maxi Regatta, hosted by Carol, who owns V Racing, and his team. Amazing regatta, boys. Shall I save it for hot time?
Yep.
A bit of a discussion?
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
About the spectacular sailing. Maybe we save it for hot time.
Yep.
But before we do, just a shout out to all the Barkaratians that actually came up and said hi. Believe it or not,
crazy.
Well, as part of the regatta.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. But also some great ideas for some awesome guests coming up. And I think we've got someone who can write our guest list going forward. One, Chris Sherlock. I'm sure from Doyle's and Leopard and, of Leopard fame,
He's got a guest himself, hasn't he?
Oh,
We've been promising to get him on for ages.
Well, he reckons he could do a good 8 or 9 episodes in a row. So.
Oh, dear.
So maybe I'll save it for a bit of hot time and, to talk to you about our behaviour on Necker Island at a private party with Richard Branson, but I won't talk too much about that sort of stuff.
All right. Stop waffling on because
we could do Barkarati, the Shirley Files.
The Shirley.
Look, stop waffling on because literally this is our only 2-hour window in 2 weeks. I'm about to get on a plane. You've just landed, so we need to get this underway. This has been a hard 2 weeks. So let's lock this in. I want to bring in our guest. It's someone we've known for a long time. We've all had some connection to him for a long time. Him and his company are iconic across sailing, a great supporter, a lovely man. When you see him walk into a room, you go, "Oh, you beauty, here we go. I can have a nice, fun conversation." But he's also right there in the middle of our sport, changing the game, and we wanted to get him on. He's always very interesting. He has a company called Gottifredi Maffioli. I was trying to do it with a little bit of accent, my friend, and I think I messed it up.
Maybe you should do the rest of the interview with a bit of an accent. Really rip the piss.
The hardest thing to work with us is to pronounce the name correctly. So that's the hard thing.
We just do it in Australian.
Yeah. Anyway, you heard his voice, so let's bring him in. Welcome to Baccarati, Luigi Maffioli.
Thank you, everybody. And it's a real pleasure to be here. Good introduction. So really, I hope to
he's
spend...
He's not bad, our Jay, is he? He's not bad.
I mean, it's a real pleasure. I mean, to be at Barcarate. So it's reconnect with old friends. I mean, it's really a really long time we don't meet in person, but it's true. It's we go back to many years of partnership and friendship. So it's really cool to find you back here.
Hey, Luigi, before we start, Jordan reached out to you earlier this week to set this episode up. You hadn't listened to Barcarati first, but off air you were talking that you listened to a few episodes this week. It kind of got you out on the running track just to listen away. Good to see you're in one piece and you didn't fall asleep and trip over while listening to us.
Well, you probably also give me a bit of a kick because it was real fun. So I think probably I even ran a bit faster than usual. So that was good.
That's just trying to get home so I could get the headphones off, Luigi.
No, it's not true. It's not true.
Well, so obviously we've got to work with Maffioli over many years through some of our roles. For those who don't know, Maffioli making most of the ropes and even more than that that we use at all levels in our sport. It started, the company's we're coming up to its 100th birthday actually. Next year is 100th birthday. Yep. Yeah. Founded by Maria Gottifredi, and I just want to emphasise this is so you and your cousins run the business, third generation. My friend, did you ever think about anything else except for making these fibres that you make?
Well, of course, I think about a lot of things in my life, but professionally, it's not really. I mean, it's basically. I think there is always something new in what we do, more or less every day. So even after 100 years, even though we are still, working with fibers and making ropes, even though the beginning of the company was not exactly as it is now, but even after nearly 100 years, I think there is still a lot of things we can do with just a bunch of fibers and ropes. And I think, we can consider ourselves like a 99-year-old startup because we keep on reinventing ourselves and making new things. So it's, we're not bored yet of what we do. So we are still quite on the core of making ropes, and I think there's still a lot we can do. So it's let's say we don't want to change our business. So ropes is fine.
I love it.
Hey,
it's amazing. 100 years to do for a business. There's not too many businesses around that can say they've lasted that long. When you're with the family, no, it's not. When
I was just thinking Barcarati, BP. Can you imagine us?
Yeah, right. Yeah, imagine us. But no, Luigi, when you're sitting around with the family, does the topic come up much where you're like, great grandma and grandma and all that, grandpa and all the people that have been involved? Do you sort of look back at that at all?
Well, yes. It's clearly, in a way. Our heritage is really something that push us forward every time, because I mean, it clearly when you get I don't know, so old as a company, so after so many years, and I've been always around by the company, and it brings your name, you feel a bit of special responsibility. And it's actually, there is always a saying about the generations. The third generation, so basically mine generation, is the generation that destroys companies. So normally the third generation found the company, the second one enlarged it, and most of the time the third generation just blew it up.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, finally, my nephew entered the company, so technically we are already the third generation, and the company is in good shape. So I feel relieved. So myself and my cousins didn't make a mess. So the company is still in probably the best shape it has ever been. So so far so good.
Fantastic.
So we can look at
So
least
far, so
to
good.
100, and then we see what happens. But it's for sure, yeah. It's looking back at that history, it feels a bit of responsibility. But the funny thing is that, and it's if I remember, it's we never actually paid too much attention to that. But I remember when there was when we filmed a video for the Volvo race many years ago, and we realized in that moment that just talking with the filmmaker. Just interviewing the people, he realized that it's not just the family that was at the third generation, but also many of our employees that were at second or third generation. So we have now people that are working in the company that had their grandmother working here.
Wow.
So that tells even more that that the running family, so that the property is really kind of a community and a family all in all. So which is this makes it even more responsible for us to run it and keep it in good shape.
Gentlemen, and Luigi,
Yes.
I had the honor of being taken through the factory. Luigi, if you remember, we had a few other Novara delights that night, which included Campari. So thank you very much for literally getting me on board for now one of my favorite drinks. But just to walk you through, we basically stepped through the factory and almost starting at one, and it was a history lesson in itself. As you said, Luigi, we walked through and you knew every single employee in there, and this is third generation. This so and so's grandmother worked here, and we were looking at machines, and it was almost stepping down history lane. You could see machines that have been there for a long time, and then you made your way through the factory to modern day machines now, and it was an amazing experience. So I thank you for that, Luigi, and I'm guessing as the times have kind of kept moving forward, you just keep advancing with technologies as well?
Yes. I mean, for sure, we kept on investing on new machines and new technologies, and we're about to expand also the plant, but we are still in the same location, and we want to be here, which sometimes is a struggle because when the company was founded here, it was just in the middle of the, not really of the countryside, but it was really at the skirts of the city, and now we have been swallowed by the city, and it's so we have to be a little bit creative sometimes on handling our room and the space around us, but as I said, I mean, we are never steady, so the company is always rechanging, and probably I think we had a very boost after COVID, after 2020. I mean, it's like things accelerated all of a sudden, and so we grew, and also in terms of people. So it's probably like 30 people more than when you came, and which makes it sometimes a little bit difficult, to be able to keep on that kind of community and family atmosphere that has always characterized the company. And clearly, when you start to grow, it's sometimes it's hard, but it's so we are so much devoted to the values of the company that our priority is really to keep on being honest and really, let's say, genuine in what we do. And so I really hope this will never change, because it's really the core of what we do. I mean, the products are important for sure. I think we do good products, but I think what makes us special is probably to try to be the way we do it. So let's say to try to keep it, let's say to embed in our products our way to be and our values, and that's the most important thing for us.
So what's important here, and one of the reasons for the listeners, obviously rope is everything in our sport. And so one of the things is to understand, the reason for getting Luigi on is, one, we love the bloke, but two, it's a chance to understand rope a little bit better. And so Maffioli started, like, as we said, with Maria Gottifredi, married Ettore Maffioli, and they started making natural fibre cords and ribbons, right? So, it wasn't targeted at
100 years ago.
Yeah,
add that in. Yeah.
Yep, 100 years ago. And then it was the early adoption of synthetic fibres, and that's where our sports changed, that ability to use these different things. And so if you look at the Gottifredi Maffioli logo, you'll see a mountain range on it. So obviously that's K2, the summit. So for expedition, then went up to K2, and that was around the 50s, I think, when nylon ropes were starting.
From memory, Jordan?
From memory.
1954, I think, mate.
Yeah, okay, thanks, boys. I appreciate that. But early adopters of new technology, and so we went into the synthetic fibres, and then that whole journey, you've come into the America's Cup, and then you've been at the forefront of the sport for so long, and using all the different fibres, like so the Kevlars, the PBOs, now Dynemas, all those different things. And so I think one of the elements that I want to say is that, this company, again, we're not taking any money from this. We're just friends having a chat. So I just want to emphasise that we think this is interesting. This company has gone at that level, so chasing those fibres. Then there's all those sustainability piece. So that's a really important thing. And I know how serious you guys take that, and how reusing and recycling and the whole methodology, you work with the United Nations on that because of our time together. So that's important. But one of the things that also is important is there's a little bit of fun, like I reckon one of the most fun elements might be sitting there when you're doing your covers, like when you're trying to lay out and create a colour pattern or something, like there must be some thoughts of what can we do, how can we do it. There's a lot of fun, I think, going into establishing what you make, mate. I reckon that must be the most interesting part.
Well, you touched the thing with colors, and actually, that is probably the most difficult part of what you do. by far, because everything else. It's really something you can somehow design. So we have great materials to work with. We all get used, particularly in sailing, we really get used to how strong the materials we use. All the textile materials we use, the Dyneema, PBO, and also carbon fibers. It's on a sailing boat, there are all the most advanced materials. But then when you step into other markets, typically in industrial markets, they don't have at all a perception of what a yarn can do. So it's really amazing, the materials we have. So it's then you start to calculate breaking strength, and that's the engineeristic part you can control. And then it comes the style part, and already on racing boats. But when you step, like for instance on super yachts or cruising boats, it's then you never know what ideas can come out from a customer. So even if we have plenty of different combination of colors and really thousands of combination of products and color, and I tried to standardize our codes, our colors for years, and as soon as you said we are over, this is 1,000 colors are enough, you always get another one saying, I don't like
Wow.
it. I want to make it different. And it's, every day. But it's, that's also, I mean, we are used to that. I mean, we are Italian, so its style is embedded in what we do. So it's like, we cannot live without that, So it's it makes at the end it makes everything a bit more fun. It's probably it was easier 40 years ago when we started in sailing. So the first America's Cup we did with Azzurra, it was 40 years ago. All ropes were white with just small strands of color, so it was very basic, very basic. Now it's a bit more complicated from that side, but
I've had an idea, Luigi. It's a ball tightener.
Baccarati range of ropes.
Baccarati color. A Baccarati color.
I can do it. No problem.
I'll send the styling guide through, Luigi. Like we're almost Italian ourselves with the way we style stuff. So
we make a capsule collection, a Baccarati capsule collection of our products. No problem.
God, I'm seeing it now.
It's exciting.
Hey, Luigi, just going back to that whole industrial versus high performance. I remember the story trying to explain to different industries. You don't need to use a wire cable or a chain or anything like that.
I was going to say, Shane's got to
come into this conversation. Actually literally use a bit of fiber that is as strong or even stronger, and it even floats on water. You must have had some very interesting conversations with different people in different industries trying to explain that piece.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind, I mean, it was a story that was about, basically it was, we got contacted by the engineering company that was actually making all the designing for a new shopping mall in Torino, so about 80 kilometers from here. And so before opening the shopping mall, they had a kind of a landmark tower in the middle of the shopping mall, and they needed to make a kind of wind test, so like a vibration test of the tower, and to see if it was solid enough to support strong winds or whatever. And to make that, they needed to pull. I think I don't remember if it was 10 tons or 20 tons, and then shock release it. And of course, they were very scared of doing that with a 40 meter long wire cable that might have been very, very dangerous. And so they committed us to make a composite cable, like a stay, like a shroud on a sailing boat,
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I mean, no, this is ridiculous. A single use. I mean, it's going to be bloody expensive. Doesn't make any sense. And said, but I mean, it's a problem for us. Just solve it. So I made, that was like 2 cables. I mean, the quote was like 15,000 euros. I said, they will never accept it. I mean, it's a waste of time. It took 30 minutes for them to confirm, and said, no problem, that's fine. The only problem I got in the whole story is that since it was closed, and I was very curious to see the procedure, I said, I mean, at the end it was an expensive cable, but it was a Dyneema cable, so it was something that I could load in my car and bring it there, put it on my shoulder, and I said, I can come and bring it with me. So they transmitted the message to the purchasing manager that it was a free delivery. And then the dates were not matching, so I had other appointments, and I said, I ship it, no problem. But it was like a UPS shipment, maybe 50 euros.
Yeah.
And I got an angry call from the purchasing manager arguing that it should have been free delivery. And I could not understand why we were talking about 50 euros out of a quote of 15,000 that they confirmed in 30 minutes. They said, this is weird.
Yeah.
And starting to talk with him, just imagine he was handling, purchases of any kind of material for a big shopping mall, so trucks getting in and out. And when he just read cable was like a 60-ton braking strength. I mean, he just imagined like a wool truck getting in to deliver that. And say, no way. I mean, I can bring it myself on a bike. That's just the point. You know? So for them, it was like a mind-blowing. Say, okay. I mean, now I got it. No problem. But it was for them, it was very hard to understand. There was such a light thing, and it was such a simple thing. And that really made me think that sometimes, I mean, when we talk to industrial people, now it's a little bit better. I mean, for sure, there are more fibers being used in a lot of different segments. But at the beginning, it was very, very hard to make them understand how much lighter our products are compared to wire, and how much more easy to handle are, and that's the most complicated part, really, to make people that don't have experience on that to believe it. Really, it's a matter of believing sometimes.
Yeah, it must be interesting, you know. Like, I'm interested. That's a very cool story about that. Just a complete game changer, and you know, from your perspective as a company, all these experiences you must have where you come in to and you bring this new idea to organizations and they just can't comprehend, you know. Like I personally experienced it on a tugboat once. I was trying to explain they were replacing the wires and I saw it from, you know, the whole boat and they just couldn't comprehend that just this bit of rope was much stronger than that bit of wire they're taking off, and how easy it is to work with. And some of the things that you must see or conversations you must have must make you chuckle internally. It must be hard to sit in some of the meetings just going, yes, no, we can do that, but you know, like, and they just don't understand how simple it is for you or how much better it is for them.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's a matter of language sometimes. I mean, it's really our experiences are so different that it's sometimes really difficult to find a common ground. Sometimes it's the opposite. I mean, some things that for them appear to be extremely easy, for us they're not. I mean, like consider about the splicing, for instance. I mean, we know that the best way to terminate rope is a splice, but splice is our job, you know. So it takes, particularly some products, it's hard. It takes hours. And for instance, I mean, with people that are used to wire and cut a piece of wire and then just bend it and press it. For us, it's that part is very complicated. So sometimes it's hard to make them understand that we can do more or less everything, but some finishing are very, very labor demanding, time consuming, and that's probably sometimes the most critical thing. So that's. I mean, in terms of products, we could replace wire in so many applications, at least if there are no problems with temperature, but the finishing sometimes is an issue. So particularly when, just imagine the application where you have to think about thousands or tens or hundreds of thousands of pieces, and you say, okay, we can do a splice, and then you say, not even in China you can do that. I mean, it takes so long. And it makes just jeopardizes the potential advantage. So it's and clearly the difficulty sometimes is when you try to compare. I mean, they already have in practice a technology, a product, or a habit, and we get in with a product that is completely different, and it's not so easy to switch. It's much easier when you enter in a project that they basically something that they never did before, and you can change also the way they think about the designing, because you can actually do things with textiles that you simply cannot even imagine to do with metal. And so if you start from the designing point, you can make, you know, you can use all the advantage of fibers. But if you retrofit, sometimes you really struggle, because it's you cannot really terminate the cables in the same way.
You're right, and it's almost across our industry in so much. Everything is so customized that it's probably hard to replicate as much as possible. But BP in his little farmhouse is keen on a bit of splicing at night time, so you can send him a few little things. But Luigi, you must have come across some super interesting projects. I mean, obviously the stuff that you do, building sheets with custom covers and all those sorts of things, and most like yachties have seen that sort of stuff, which is super cool, and the process that goes through there. But some of the projects that you would have seen for super high load items that have come across the factory floor that proved to be a bit of a challenge would have been pretty interesting. You want to tell us a little bit about some of those particular projects? Like, did you have to build a lifting strop for 400-ton safe working load or anything like that?
But yeah, I mean, it's let's say we don't. Fortunately, we are. Let's say we try to keep away from the super massive industrial stuff because it's they're probably too big for us. And I mean, we always. I mean, we like the idea to have a balance of industry and yachting, but we still want to keep in a size that is comfortable for yachting, so without mixing too much with heavy marine and that easily can distract you. And so yachting is, let's say, our core business. But anyway, I mean, it's since we work on basically any kind of yacht, including the super massive super yachts, and then sometimes, I mean, things get very, very big, and actually there it's let's say the approach is also slightly different than what we used to have in racing since the beginning, because clearly on a super yacht you cannot expect like you have. So in racing there is always a learning curve that you have with your customer. So you start designing something, you prepare a prototype, you test it, and you improve it along the campaign. At least that has always been like that with high-end teams in America's Cup, in the Vendée, in the dual teams, and the Volvo Ocean Race is always like that. But on super yachts, I mean, they want something that is right out of the box, and clearly with the fact that in the past years the frontier of the size of the boats have been growing and growing. So very often you find yourself so every year you find yourself to make the biggest stuff you've ever made, and then the year after again, and it's and that is sometimes becomes pretty hard because as you go big, for sure, I mean, you have to start to think about also problems that you didn't have to face in the past. I mean, like for instance, the way temperature is transmitted out of a rope. I mean, if you have like a 10 millimeter rope, you cannot even think about that. But if you have a 40 millimeter rope, I mean, it takes quite a while for the heat to migrate out of the rope, and that's a factor. And but in a way, I mean, the funny thing. So and it's a very interesting things of the past years that we've been very much engaged on both ends, the very big lines and the super small lines. And it's because like last year, for instance, has been a very special year for us because it's there's been a kind of a mix of all the most important events in sailing all in 1 year. So the Olympics, the America's Cup, the Vendée Globe, and of course also the launch or the refitting of some super yachts. And particularly in the last Olympics with the foiling classes, and in general with the foiling classes, there has been let's say a tendency to miniaturize every single line, and it's and again it's when you get very small, you have to rethink about your products, your technologies, your machines in exactly the same way that you have to do when you go super big. because it's just even thinking about splicing a very small line. It's you need to reinvent your tools, your procedures. It's and it has been the past Olympics have been real fun. So we really developed a lot of new products, new sizes. We introduced the 0.5 millimeters.
Wow.
So it's there is a range of we have like 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5. So it's kind of a maniac thing, but it's really nice.
Imagine your tool for that, Bossy.
Splicing tool. Yeah, copy. Got you. No, yeah, pretty amazing. And to tell you that, and I've had this conversation with quite a few people in the industry, and you would have seen it, Luigi. No longer is the rigger just the kid who's come off the dock who knows how to splice. The rigger now is such an important piece of any racing program. And to me, it's one of the areas where the technology has come a long way, and also the professionalism has come as far as any other industry within as any other trade within the industry. And the work that these guys and girls can punch out, and the way it looks and makes your product look really good, is quite phenomenal. You must get to work with some pretty some really good tradespeople in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think, it's particularly in yachting or high-end yachting, so racing, super yachts. I mean, it's the product itself. So the rope. So what we do is probably not even half of it. So it's the finishing of that. So the splicing, so the accuracy you put in that, it's at least as important, because it's you can just jeopardize. You can jeopardize the strength of the rope if you don't splice correctly, but it's for sure you jeopardize the aesthetics and the functionality as well, because it's both to have a very clean transition when you maybe switch covers or you do a splice. That makes a whole lot of difference in just the way the rope or the line is behaving on board. So it's extremely important, and it's for sure. I mean, the real let's say the secret weapon we always had is that we always had the lack or the ability to surround ourselves with extremely professional people that really knows and put a lot of dedication and passion in what they do. So they're really so the splicing nerds. So they really like what they do, and it's extremely important. So otherwise, our product would be nothing. So if it is not worked properly, it's just useless.
It's all in the whipping. It's all in the whipping.
Well, BP, you're one of the finer rope smiths I've ever come across, and
thanks, boss.
You can maybe give us a bit of your experience this week. You've actually been splicing some Maffioli textiles this week for the Ep302. Is that correct?
As I said at the start of the show, it's kind of timely. I didn't realise that, Luigi, you were going to be on this week, and I've come down to Portugal and I've opened the box up, and there it is, and there's my boat, and I've gone, oh, here we go. So I started basically 2 days ago, and nearly done the whole boat. But it's glamour, yeah. It's great stuff to work with. So, from a rigging point of view, it's come a long way, though. I can say. I remember the old days. It was. It's definitely come a long way, and that's probably part of the good part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's always been. One of the most so let's say the spliceability of the product and the consistency of that has always been a prime goal in our the way we think the product and we manufacture that, and that is probably the feedback we have more consistently, that our product is always the same to itself, so it's pretty predictable in the way you have to splice it, and for us that's a really critical point, because at the end it's It's a product that is meant for professionals, and at least the biggest part of our production, not all of that. I mean, of course, we also do very simple products, but I think that's probably a bit of the edge we always had, is really to put a lot of care into that and make sure that. So if you have to make 10 lines or 10 strops, you can rely that the result is going to be always the same. And that's not really something you can give for granted, because I mean it's sometimes just even small differences. The process of making a rope is pretty simple, but there are a lot of small details that really can influence the final result. Maybe not in a visible way, but when you put your hands on that and you start to process that, even just a small difference in the tension of the yarns can make the braid open easier or not, and makes a whole lot of difference in the splicing and the finished result on the rope. So that's really something we are
100%.
really keen on.
100%.
Speaking of which, Luigi, do you mind just explaining the process of making a rope? Well, obviously, as an end user, we probably see a call of 8mm SK99 turning up on on a reel. But what's the actual? How does it arrive at your factory, and how does it end up on the reel in that particular style?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the process itself is pretty simple. I mean, we start from a yarn. Of course, we cannot manufacture the raw material, so we get reels of very small yarns. Like consider, I mean, Dyneema, for instance. It's normally it's a yarn that is probably size of less than half a millimeter, but much less. I mean, it's and it's made of filaments. Like normally one yarn of Dyneema is like 300 filaments. Each filament is 4 microns in size, so they're very, very fine. And what we do is we take large number of these reels, we put them together and try to tension them in the most controlled way, and we start to twist them to create so the single element that makes the braid. Let's say the strand that goes along the braid, and that is let's say the first step of the production, but is also the most important part, because it's basically is where you might make most damage to the material, because having to assemble a strand out of hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of these extremely small filaments, you can damage the material, but you can also create a strand that does not have a uniform tension of all these elements. And that's probably the most critical part, because every damage you make there, you cannot, let's say, gain it in a following step, or at least with some treatments you can try to improve the line, but if you make a bad job there, it's done. And there, once you have the strand, you start to split it into the carriers of the machine. So normally we try to work with quite small batches, so really depending on the products, but we try to be very, let's say, accurate in dimensioning the batches to avoid waste. Also because we have so many alternative products. So if we have like an halyard of 70 meters to be made, so we prepare the yarns for 70 meters, we put it on the machine, and we create the braid. So the braid is kind of a hypnotic moment, because you see all those strands that are going in circle and making a kind of a slalom. So it's pretty cool. And it's I remember also probably on I think it was on Instagram, probably the video that got probably most viral from us was just a very simple video of a braiding machine from behind. So looking, let's say, from the perspective of a rope being built, and it was like seeing slowly those strands crossing and building the rope is probably kind of an hypnotic thing. It's like probably
I know exactly, Luigi. I know
I don't know why.
all those Luigi, all those professional riggers I spoke about, it wasn't hypnotic. It was like they were watching OnlyFans. Oh, 8 mil.
Oh, looking forward to the 10.
So, and then that's the moment where they say the magic is created, and then after that, basically, yeah, for sure, there might be some post treatment like heat setting, coating, but let's say the real moment is really when the strands are being braided into a form of a rope, and that's a pretty cool moment. But it's as I said, I mean, it's nothing really special. It's very simple, but like in all simple things, you need to care for the details. So otherwise, at the end, I mean, we all use more or less the same materials. Like Dyneema is Dyneema for everyone, and the machines, a braiding machine is, it's more or less the same since 8 years ago, or maybe less, maybe 6 years ago. But it's then you can put inverters, controls, but it's the mechanical function is always the same. So the only way to make a better rope is really to care about every single detail you can think. So it's so the designing part, so the tensioning, maintenance of the machine, a bit of tweaking, but it's like cooking a very simple dish, and so with few ingredients. But if you need good ingredients, but you also have to care about every single detail. But I like simple cooking, and Italian cooking is all about that. So you can make amazing dishes out of 3 ingredients, and that's the secret.
That's the whole.
So what would the pineapple on the pizza be in regards to in the rope world?
Right.
It's going to have to be the treatment of the rope. The final treatment of the rope is the game changer for us.
Yes, right.
I do have to say, Luigi, as you were explaining that whole structure of pulling the rope together, like pulling the braid together, I was going, this is Italian cooking. This is exactly Italian cooking, because they use a few simple ingredients and they get it perfect. And that focus on the detail is that's Italian cooking to me. Like it's such a great thing to eat, Italian food. It's so beautiful, but they use so simple ingredients to get it perfect, and that's what.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's why also. I mean, we say the doors of our plant are always open. I mean, I even got competitors walking through our company, and I feel totally relaxed about that, because I mean, they cannot get the secret, even if they know the way of building a rope, of course, but anyone that can come here, I mean, it's the process is so simple that you can easily copy, let's say, the process. But I think the secret is in the software; it's not in the hardware. So it's you cannot copy that.
Strict open door policy. We love it.
I do want to emphasise for all the youngsters or the people wanting to get into splicing that. There's a whole series of fantastic videos that you guys do, Gottifredi Maffioli do, showing how to do different splices, and so if you have a passion for it and you're a splicing nerd, as Luigi said, you can jump online and actually watch all their videos, or if you're just about you need to do it.
We could release a bar karate splicing video, boys. So I could probably do that.
Yeah, okay, go for it. But it's already there on the with Maffioli, so I just wanted to emphasise.
Yeah, I think we will do many more in the future also, because I think we really understood that there's so much passion about that. I mean, it's. I think we also saw that, I mean, everything we release also on the social networks, everything is about splicing, made by ourselves, by our customers. It's always have more views than anything else. It's because it's really something that really people sometimes struggle to think how you can do that, and it's and again it's something that I mean, in theory it's simple. In reality, it is not that simple to make it properly. but for sure, it's really something that a lot of people like to engage. And also in the past years, very often we did quite a lot of seminars also for at some events, particularly for dinghies, so Olympic classes, and also for students, and they really love that. So the redemption of those events are really, really good.
Luigi, we see you on, in the last few years I've seen photo. I see you at the America's Cup. We see you on Superyachts. We see you. You're talking about the Olympics, but also on the foiling. You've become a big part of Foiling Week. What's your favourite sailing boat? When you think about sailing boats, where's your happy place on a sailing boat for you? Is it a lake cruise? Is it a foiling boat? Is it offshore boat? Where's your happy place?
Well, unfortunately, I have to say that I'm not a great sailor. It's let's say I'm probably the boat. The boat I'm more comfortable with is my desk. But no, in general, I mean, of course, I had the chance, being lucky enough to be on board some of really amazing boats. Maybe not steering because no one would trust me, but it's for sure. I'm really fascinated by foiling. I never sailed on a foiling boat. I would be probably a bit scared, but that's for sure. It's really something that really fascinated me a lot, also from an engineeristical point of view. But I would say probably I think probably the boat I'm more comfortable with is a boat where you can easily drink a good gin tonic on. So that's probably my best place. Yeah.
I love it.
I think, probably a boat in the Caribbean, but that would be probably best. Even though, I mean, also here I have a funny story that first time I went to St. Barth for racing, again, I thought of that week to be kind of a holiday, so vacation times, to be there and just chatting to people, shaking hands, and public relations, and making a race on a super yacht. It was kind of fun, and so I totally missed the point, because when I got on board, the boat was kind of first race. I was like a 54 meter, and when I get on board and say, "Hey, the splicing guy arrived, so we have a few things to fix." So I spent basically the whole week, sweating out in the lazarette, making strops and rolls. So all my gin tonic, sunset dreams just faded away. And I remember, like last day I was still there, fixing a couple of things. My daughter called me on the phone, and I was still splicing, so I put the phone with a loudspeaker with all the other guys around me, and my daughter said, "Mom asks when the holidays are over and you come back." I start sweating like hell. So, what the hell of vacations? Everybody was laughing and said, "No, I mean, that is not a vacation.
No.
It's working hard."
I'm hearing that, Luigi. I'm hearing that. Tough times,
We can
especially
all
in safe
relate to that. We can all relate to that for sure.
One of the things that is interesting for you is that your partnerships with the material suppliers must be critical. Like these new ideas that you must get to see, and because the technology is changing. That we've discussed the evolution through different fibers. So that for you must be one of the most critical parts. You've got to maintain a business. You've got to do all the with the end user, but then you've got to maintain the business from the supplier, and that evolution of fibre must be an interesting part. Do they bring you in when they're thinking of new designs or new technology?
Yes, absolutely, because it's that is again, I think what so the open door policy that we said before, I think it always pays dividends. Also, if you use that both towards your customers, but also towards your suppliers. So, and in that, I mean, we always believe that being very transparent and is always useful. So we always try to get our suppliers engaged in what we do. So in the boats we supply, so the needs they have, and we managed to make them understand that we can be. So let's put it this way: we are not the biggest customers of any of our suppliers, because clearly, if you think about Dyneema, DuPont for Kevlar, PBO, so all these materials, they're the biggest markets are for sure not yachting. Heavy marine, military, all those markets chew quantities that are 10 times or 100 times bigger than what yachting in all and including us as a manufacturer can have. So let's say they are not particularly attracted about our volumes, but for sure they are attracted about the chances we can give to experiment quickly, and also the visibility they can get, because at the end the very attractive thing with sports in general and sailing is that every advancement you can have on materials, if it is just in industrial businesses where the material is kind of hidden in a more complex structure, it becomes very difficult for the supplier of the raw material to get visibility, to get branding. But in yachting, I mean, take the case of Dyneema. Dyneema is a brand, and Kevlar is a brand, and they managed to get their products being talked about on boats, on the docks, and for them it's very important. So they get the reputation, but they also can get a very quick feedback on the value of a new product. And it's clear, sometimes in industry it takes years to validate a material, and to find someone that is that's willing to take the risk to try something new. And in racing or in yachting in general, it's pretty easy, because everyone is looking for something new. And when you bring, of course, I mean, we say our ability is to be the filter and understanding when a new idea can be safe enough to be tested on board. But it's we always find an event, a race, or a boat that is willing to test, and we can give. Let's say a feedback in a few months, sometimes in a few weeks, and then for them it's very valuable. It is really something they cannot get in any other business, and that's and this really is an asset that we managed really to capitalize, and now I think we have really a very good partnership with all our suppliers for this reason. And okay, sometimes it also helps that we bring them to races, and it's pretty fun for them. I mean, they get there, and all the fuzz and the drinks, and that helps a lot.
Hanging with bison.
Hey, Jordan, I laugh a little bit when you were talking about the brand Luigi Kevlar. A few years ago, we were doing some work with Tajan. And Jordan and I would often refer to the Aramid as Kevlar. Yeah. No. We didn't get invited back to many dinners.
Oh, we did. They loved us.
But that was a lesson.
I've never said Kevlar since. I've always said Aramid.
Always referred to it as Aramid.
But that happened to Dyneema as well a few years before, because they now they have a brand, but like 15 years ago, no one knew Dyneema, and everyone, at least in Europe, everybody was already using Dyneema, but no one knew the name. Everybody was talking about Spectra.
Spectra, so exactly. Yeah,
that was pretty. Yeah, it's very. They didn't realize about that, but yeah.
Hey, Luigi, we're pretty much out of time, but I do want to sort of finish off with one little thought. One thing I've noticed is, this evolution back to ropes, like in the late 1800s, everything was ropes, like boats, all the terminals were tie lines and stuff. Then we moved to wire and we developed all this new technique. And now we're going back to some of the old techniques that we used on sort of clipper ships, the way you would terminate a line and all that. Because we've gone rope, wire, now we're back to rope. So some of the old thoughts and technology in how you use rope is come back in. And I find that quite interesting. Like when I look at a large cat and I look at how their standing rigging's held down, and it's just tied down, it's just a bit of rope tying it on. I just love it, like it's like if you get on an old square rigger, you see the same ties. That's all very interesting.
True. Yeah.
We've evolved backwards, but forwards at the same time.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's but if you think how old is rope making, so there have been ropes since beginning of the ages. So that's has been really part of let's say of human technology since thousands of years. I mean, it's and it's really. I mean, it's. At a certain point, wire stepped in simply because the natural fibers were not providing the performance to sustain the increasing loads. But it's so there's so many things you can do with the rope, and so natural that it's and now, I mean, with the fact that the ropes are so high performance that. I think it's quite natural that we go back to ropes everywhere because it's really part of the human beings, So there is always a rope around. So even in toys, I mean, we all grew up with using ropes also during toys, and
so that's so true.
Hey, Luigi, I reckon what you should roll with is say not only was the vision from Maria and Ettore very clear, but it was actually way before that. It was your ancestors that created the first ropes to build the giant pyramids.
That's true.
Dear. Well,
hey, Luigi, been super cool having you on. I enjoy our catch-ups around the world. Especially at Mets on the first night where you have the Maffioli beer. That's a good one. So look forward to seeing you on the track again.
Yeah.
Wherever that may be, and I'm going to guess it's going to be pretty soon.
We'll have to come up with our Baccarati colourway.
Yeah.
We'll spend weeks developing that, but we'll throw
checking
that
our styling guide. It's been determined. Yeah.
So much fun.
That's good. That's good. I keep ready for that.
Yeah. Oh dear. All right, mate. Great fun to see you, and really appreciate you taking time. We know you've got to rush off now as well.
It was a real pleasure. No problem. It was a real pleasure, and I mean, it's now I'm a fan, so for sure it's. I can continue running and listening to Baccarati for quite a while. I mean, I still have kind of 300 episodes to listen. So
yeah, I was going to say, mate, you're going to get fit. You're going to get fit.
Yes, yeah, probably even too much, but it's I will try.
One thing we haven't explained for a long time, Luigi. So for someone like yourself who's joined sort of recently, so Baccarati, is at the bar. When you see them finish sailing at the end of the day and they use their hands to describe the race, where I tacked here and you were here, this is Baccarati. That's why the name.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering, and now we got the nice explanation. That's good. That's cool.
So you'll say it all the time now.
Yeah, you're right. I will use it very often.
All right, mate. Thank you.
Thank you very
Luigi.
much.
See ya.
Cheers,
mate. Good on you. Good to see you again, Luigi.
It was a pleasure.
What a ripper. Super technical.
What a ripper.
And the internet connection was a little bit ropey. as we said, that was fine. No, super cool, Luigi. Thanks very much. And yeah, as part of back in the day, as part of the boatyard, got to visit a lot of factories, Maffioli being one, and it's super cool, super interesting, good stuff. But I've got an idea, man.
Oh, yeah.
What's
I
that,
thought
son?
my idea was good, but go on.
The Bar Karate Maffioli edition stubby holder. Essentially, whatever the width of a can of beer is,
Yeah.
that is the cover that is weaved.
A woven cover.
Essentially, it's like a tea cozy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't keep your beer cold, but it will be pretty cool.
No.
It's like the tea cozy of
Wow.
stubby coolers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
We'll have to
what a great
investigate
idea.
that one.
And the other one,
Well,
to all those kids out there listening who are doing home economics at school and you're complaining about doing underwater basket weaving, mate, this is it. It's about the filament, the yarn, the strand, the braid, the weave. This is all it is. You are our next evolution of rope smiths right there.
Rope smith. I love it. Love it. Splicing nerds and rope smiths.
rope smithing.
Rope smithing. Yeah. It's
Love it.
fine. Yeah. And we mentioned it off air, but yeah, these guys and girls, and mentioned during the pod, of course, the work that they're producing is bloody really blows your mind.
I find it, to be honest, I find it extremely therapeutic, to be honest. I absolutely love it.
I agree.
I just get there and I switch off, and I just all of a sudden it's the end of the day.
Put on your favourite podcast, start a bit of splicing. Hopefully you don't fall asleep.
Whack on some tunes, and just sit there and splice away.
Yeah, no,
good.
it's good. It's good.
It's very cool. Speaking of all the adventures we're having, I do want to emphasise that, we've had a tough week pulling all this together, but one of the great things that's made our week easy is that we can rely on Radix Nutrition. So we've been able to, whilst with all this travel, we can use their fabulous meals, breakfast and protein powders to stay fully fit. We can create a perfectly healthy meal around our busy lifestyles. So it's been a great thing. And if you want to use that technology to support your lifestyle, then just jump on to Radix Nutrition, use Bar Karate as a discount code, and get a discount on us. Right. Moving forward, my friends, got a few phone calls during the week, or actually last week, obviously, when this happened, but we've lost Matt Mitchell from New Zealand, so quite an iconic sailor. So Matt passed away at a young age, thanks to cancer, and sorely missed. A very important part of the world of sailing in New Zealand and sailing in general. I think, I'm just trying to remember, like 6 America's Cups, won it 3 times, and took had a huge passion for our sport, and so we have mad respect for that. And
absolutely. And just to add to that quickly, Jordan, as we were at the most recent regatta when Matt did pass away, the news obviously was quite hard to take for quite a lot of people, specifically all his Kiwi mates that were there. Had the pleasure of meeting and working a little bit with Matt back in the day. But, shout out to all the yachties out there that have sailed with him. Nothing, just mad respect for what he did and the way he conducted himself. So, yeah, it's a big loss for the community.
Yeah, it never seems fair, like when someone goes young, it never seems fair, but at least he lived a good life. That's the one thing we can say. And he had respect. So, so condolences to Matt's family. Do want to mention this week we're into regattas, sailing regattas that are going on. So obviously we'll come back to your mucking around on super yachts, but the athletes, the real athletes, are Princess Sophia.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing.
The real athletes are on the super yacht.
I was just taking the piss out of you, mate. Trophy Princess Sophia Regatta is underway in Mallorca. So that's all the Olympic dinghy classes and associated classes. That's always the sort of, it's a big regatta, really important one. And just wanted to make sure people were aware of that to tune in. We're in the build-up for the 28 cycle. Actually, just on the Olympics, boys, did you hear the announcement? The 32 Olympics, where all the sailing facilities. That was a bit of a surprise.
Are you a little bit disappointed, Jordan?
No.
I thought you were in. Malulabar would have been a bloody glamour.
Well, look, I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about the sailing. And so I tell you that, everyone
It
thought
is 2032.
Yeah, I'll be dead.
I hope they've got some access ramps for you.
Yeah. They'll be, but so everyone assumed it was going to be on Moreton Bay, and then there was a bit to be here near my place. Exactly right, the foiling stuff and boards. But now, no, it's all up on the Whitsundays. It's
Not
going
bad.
to be
Not bad though.
that time of year.
Good.
It is going to be. Tell you what, if you want some footage or imagery to promote a place, that is going to be about as the yachties going, or the sailors. If you're a young sailor thinking about the Olympics, 32, holy dooly, you're going to be sailing in paradise, absolute paradise. Little tidal is all I'll say. Plenty of water moving around through there, but wow, it is the photos they're going to get for that. And imagery they're going to get from that is just going to be sensational, because that is the exact time of year to be up there, as evidenced by Hamo Race Week and Airlie Race Week. That's a big one. Very interesting.
I like it.
We're going to have a debate, boys. We've got something we have to debate here, and let me explain it. The Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week we are about to discuss. We have to announce, thanks to our friends at Vycobi, the Listener of the Month, our friends at Vycobi giving away $200 voucher where you get to go online to Vycobi and look at some of their technical sailing gear and clothing and bags and all sorts of amazing stuff, and you just pick and take whatever you want. If you send us the best communication, it doesn't have to be an email, it can be video, it can be anything you want to send us that's you're comfortable us sharing, but it is a way, and we do have to decide that, and we haven't actually gone through and worked out who it is beforehand, because we haven't been able to catch up. We literally this is our first catch up in weeks. But before we get to that, I do want to say there's been a heap of emails this week. I haven't had a chance to get to them. So for those who have sent us emails, we're not ignoring you. There are some ideas, show ideas, and all sorts of different things that have come through. We very much appreciate those. And I just want to make sure that you know that we're not ignoring you. Okay, so I just wanted to say that we did get an email from Chris Bolger, and he's having, I don't know if he's having a go at us or just holding us accountable. Either way, I don't mind that sort of stuff. I like being pulled up just in case I'm doing something wrong. So he writes, as someone who has invested money and time into growing our sport by welcoming women, I thoroughly appreciated your shows with Elizabeth and Cole. Great sailors who deserve attention, but I will confess some surprise there was no mention in either episode of Violet, Sam, Justine, Clarice, Pip and Isabel. Maybe I missed it. Apologies and ignore me if that's the case. While Elizabeth and Cole were executing a major delivery of Dreaming of the Top of the Mountain, 5 incredible women pros made the summit. I know you guys are very internationally coverage and don't miss anything in the offshore world, but here in the US, we prefer to pretend that French ocean racing doesn't exist. And if one of our skippers slips a Darlin or Camas on the team to win an event, it's not newsworthy. So I'm ever vigilant to point out that in France, we find the very best ocean racing events and best ocean sailors and benchmark for diversity and inclusion. If you want to be the best, let everyone play. So what he's saying is we didn't mention some of those sailors, but we mention them all the time throughout our show. So I think we can go one episode without mentioning. I don't know. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I did read it. Probably looked at it in the same sense as you, Jordan. I mean, obviously, doing an interview is about that particular person, but as for Clarice, Pip, Isabel, Sam, Justine, Violet, I mean, we've mentioned specifically around the Vondo. I mean, it's a major part of what we do and produce and promote as well. So, but no, Chris,
Cool.
Kudos to you.
Yeah,
Thanks for giving us some feedback. Absolutely.
But
I like I feel we do go to, well, we don't look at it. We try and promote as much as we can women in sailing. And to tell you the truth, it's kind of sailing in general.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. 100%. We're 100% from day one with Magenta Project, from everything, like it's just, as you say, Bicey, it's just sailing. We don't differentiate between male and female now. Like if someone's doing something amazing, we want to talk to them. We don't care if it's male or female. So, at least.
Yeah, I think he had a point specifically around Women's Day.
International
Women's Day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I agree with
enough,
that.
Chris.
But to all the sailors out there, love your work. We do have another little email that just popped up Friday from Lawson Shaw, which I quite like. He sent us a photo. It's pretty good. Say, hi boys, just a quick note from me. It's Young Members Night at Sandringham Yacht Club, and with some short course racing on the 6 Club J70s, there was a few too many people wanting to sail. So we've set up deck chairs on the bow of the start boat to heckle 40 plus people on the water, 120 signed up to come to the bar tonight, and plenty of banter. Can't be bad for sailing. Yes!
Yeah. Awesome. Love it.
The message is getting through. The message is getting through.
Love it.
Imagine it was kind of like the the two old guys sitting up in the corner of the Muppets. Well, this is a bunch of young guys giving you absolutely, well, probably a language we wouldn't understand, put it that way.
Yeah.
But getting the banter high.
Yeah. Right. So thank you very much, you guys, for sending that in. So that was an absolute. That is a good little thing, and the banter is the key to success. Is one of our theories. So continue with that. So listen to the month, boys. For the Vycobi kit, our friends at Vycobi doing so much. I got to say, boys, I was listening to a very, 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 very popular podcast that Australians all listen to, and I think goes worldwide. Two blokes and a third guy on their team do a lot of fun. I think you may know who do you know who I'm referring to, or should I put names out there? Hamish,
put names.
Hamish and Andy.
Oh, Hamish and Andy. Yeah. Yeah.
And they have this thing where they if you see them in the flesh, they give you $1. And they were making this claim: we're the only podcast in the world that pays our listeners. And I'm sitting there listening to that, going, dude, we give away $200 every month, $200 every month. And I'll be honest, every single dollar that comes in from Vycobi goes out to the listeners. We take none of it. We take $0 and give it all straight out to the listeners. And so the tax office, can you stop finding us because we haven't done our tax yet, because we don't make any money, all right? You're not going to get anything out of us. Right. But yeah, so I just wanted to emphasise that point. But the listener of the month, so here's the two that I've narrowed it down. It's either Ryan Nelson, our mate from Rogue Rigging, because, 505, organising regattas, doing that amazing regatta promotion, which we love, or it's our friend Dara McDonough with the boat names. So it's up for you two. I'm intrigued. I'm happy. I've nominated two, and
Well,
I know which way Brett's going to go.
I like what you've nominated. I'm going straight for poo-poo.
So, I poo too.
Yeah, I need
What
a poo.
was it?
I need a poo too. I need a poo too.
Okay, so I'll hold the casting vote. Is that correct?
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it down to some feedback from the peers, let's say. So I was just traveling as we're driving down the road to the boat one morning in St. Bart's. I was telling them about Dara's email that came through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't get much reaction, to tell you the honest truth.
Right.
So until a few minutes later, when someone said, "Oh, who the third?" As in an Irish person saying it, "Who the third?" And they only just got it. Like it came through. In fairness, though, I think Ryan. My vote's Ryan. Giving back big time to the world of yachting. Love that.
Fair enough.
We all love that. Volunteerism, the glue that binds our sailing community.
The glue that binds.
Which is bloody good. So I'm going with Ryan.
Okay. Job done. Ryan gets it.
Righto. Well, congratulations, Mr. Rogue Rigger. We'll see some of that Vycobi gear on your streams when you do one.
Hey, Dara, I tried.
Hey.
I tried, mate. I tried.
Keep trying.
You know what? It's a perfect win, though. While we've just spoken to Luigi Maffioli, and a rigger is going to pick up the kit. It's a nice little sort of loop there, rigger and the roping.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it wasn't done that way. It's just worked out that way. But very nice. So congratulations. So that means.
It's hot time with Bice.
Where do I start? Holy shit.
Well, you start by saying just that music just takes you right back to the Caribbean, doesn't it? Feeling hot.
Oh, speaking of which, I explained
that
about
is?
my Caribbean-esque top that I brought the other day for $1 million.
Oh yes.
Hey, I'm down to like $62 per wear.
Oh wow, you're getting
Going
some
well.
use.
Oh yeah, getting some serious use.
You
Particularly when they say,
It would fit
particularly when
in.
they say as part of the event, dress code, Caribbean chic.
Caribbean
You're
chic.
welcome.
You know what it also is? It would get you backstage at any calisthenics concert because they would just.
I was going to take it to the sequin weaving area to get my name printed to gossip. No, I said,
Not
do they want
quite
you-
sure how you'd go at the Port Power Cheer Squad, Bice.
No. Cali Dad, I was going to put on there.
Yeah. Yes. No. It would. Your Caribbean.
You just
shirt
imagine the
fits
camera. You can just imagine the camera sort of panning across the Port Adelaide cheer squad at the MCG, and there's all the black and blue and teal, and then
Here
there's
I
this
am in my
spicy in the middle.
Blue and pink.
Floral Caribbean shirt.
Love it. Hopefully,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be going. We're hopefully going live to a boat in the Melbourne Osaka is what was supposed to be happening, but connection hasn't been made. So you lead away with hot time.
I'll carry on.
Yep.
As the wee little nippers walk into the back.
Yeah, the clan are coming in.
It
See
must
Dad.
be morning time. Rightio. Well, let's have a quick one about the Maxi Regatta just competed in.
Yeah.
As spoken about, like one venue, unbelievable, had a host of different conditions. Like from not much wind on the first day to the last day, like 30, 34 knot squall come through. Super cool
Nice.
on a 100-footer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one of the things that happened, like we're coming in right to a headland, like basically crossing tacks with V Racing. I'm on Galatea, and we've got a window on the side of the hull. The engineer comes out of the engine room, looks directly in front of him. He's got the window on the side of the hull, so it's basically like a glass bottom boat. And all he can see is the rocks and the reefs and the fish and stuff swimming around him.
Wow.
And he's like, holy shit, are we about to brick this bastard?
Wow.
But shout out to Yabby. Oh, one of the best. And with a name like Yabby, you'd think he's an Aussie, wouldn't
You
you?
would.
No, he's Dutch.
Wow.
Anyway,
Oh,
no,
that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit. Doesn't work.
got some great stories, though, in his backpacking days around us. So yachting was good. Social side, phenomenal. But I'm not going to talk about the private party in Mosquito Island where they had a guy playing the saxophone. Who,
Did you get up on stage?
I'm not going to chat about the private party on Necker Island hosted by Sir Richard Branson with the Whalers playing.
Wow.
My God, unbelievable!
Wow.
Nor will I talk about the speech that Kenny Reid gave, saying that Richard Branson and him were observing the flamingo lake on Necker Island when two flamingos started getting it on, and Sir Richard was explaining to Kenny the ins and outs, so to speak, of when the flamingos get it on. Or nor
What else
will I
aren't you
mention,
gonna- what else aren't you gonna talk
on the
about?
last day of yachting, picture this, you come down, you're all, there's a few emotions running through, one of the coolest regattas one would do. Almost home time after a 7-week tour, so pretty excited. Come down 8 a.m. in the morning, there's still drum band playing. Just all of our favourite Caribbean tunes.
Oh.
Pretty much the set list of what was that movie called with Tom Cruise? Kokomo.
Cocktail.
Cocktail. Exactly.
But Kokomo is a good one. That's the
so
Beach
many
Boys,
other
so-
parts. This is definitely going to be a chapter in the book at
Wow.
some point in time. I'm deciding whether it's actually going
You're
to be
gonna
in the
write the
front
book too,
half or the
Bryson?
back half. Unlike your book, BP. By the way, how is the book coming on?
Yeah, getting there.
Yeah.
Long journey, but
Yep. And just finally, though, again, as mentioned, all the Barcaradians, thanks for saying hi. We've got an awesome guest list coming up. Carell, owner of V Racing, and all your team that put on one of the best regattas that anyone has ever been to.
Yes.
So
sounds good.
basically, the issue being, and I think there's an opportunity here, man. The accommodation's rather hard to find, and especially with all the team and the different teams that are there. Barcarati Barge.
Barcarati
Swags.
Barge.
Oh,
Just saying.
The Barcarati Floating Hotel.
just
Yep. 100%.
putting it out there. Just putting it out there.
Probably we won't be able to pay for the cruise ship to come in, but we can definitely put a sticker on it, and it could be the Barcarati Barge for sure.
We can't even organise a sticker. I'm not sure how we can organise a barge.
All right. Enough of that, boys. Next up, Sail GP. What are those little kids doing in the back?
Oh, they're just cutting into shot. They're waving a lot behind your head, mate. That's
All
all.
right. Sail GP. Well, couple of things.
This is a
winners
topic,
and,
isn't it?
winners and grinners.
Yeah.
I think we've all seen that. We've all been. There's not much to dissect in that regard. What is to dissect?
I do want to say in that regard, we are seeing the emerge. Like, I'm wondering if it's just the foils, the new foils, but there's like five nations or five of the boats, the teams that are sort of dominant. Spain, Aussie, Kiwi, UK. Who else would be in there? Like we are seeing
Canada.
Yeah, Canada. Thank you.
Canadians.
Canada. Canada looking red hot.
Canadians from Canada.
Yeah. And man, they've got some issues going on below them at the moment. But yeah, so there's some real standouts.
You're talking about sort of.
I'm not
Is that
talking
a planetary comment?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm not saying anymore. But we're seeing that sort of emergence of those front runners. Obviously, one of those front runners, which is where you're about to go, Bice. But I do want to say, I'm wondering if it's just the new foils and those teams switched onto it a fraction quicker, and then everyone will come back together. But there is performance, and we've only got a few weeks before the next one, a month. So we're into Brazil first week of May, I think, from memory. So but yeah, go on. What were you going to say?
But of course, very newsworthy is the Aussies dropping the wing.
Wow. How many messages did you boys get when that happened?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty full on.
I was on a full
From what
boat.
I can figure, there's normal sailing load case. Nothing unusual there. Failure looked similar to the Kiwis in Saint-Tropez last year, as far as where it broke, and maybe I might be wrong there, but nothing obscure.
No,
she tumbling down. But we've kind of spoken about the wing a bit in regards the foils in regards to danger, but
That
this
wing
has
can-
to be high on the
Yeah.
danger zone.
Well, they are.
But how it broke.
Well,
and where
if you
it
have a
fell,
look, where that thing
Scary
fell,
stuff.
if you have a look where that thing fell, the main section of the mast was about 1.5 meters behind Slingers, and the
Yeah.
fourth stay came down about 1.5 meters in front of Newton.
Yeah.
You know, so they were in the triangle. They were inside the triangle, all of them, and so and you know, so quickly as well. I mean, you think about the loads that thing was under
There's no
exploded like that.
reaction that's going to get you out of the
There's
way
no
of that
reaction.
thing coming in.
There's no. You know.
So I
And
haven't seen any
you're gonna-
comms on
We're going to say lucky, but
any comms on getting another wing set up for Brazil, but you might have seen.
No, I haven't.
inside of
I haven't tried. I haven't had a chance to follow up on it at all. But I do want to say, like when we saw it happen, initially everyone thought, "Oh, contact," and it came down. But it's looking.
no contact.
No contact at all. Like when we look at the close photos, it was close. Like 5 mil maybe miss, and so it coming down off the foils, going through dirty air, and like a vortex going up the wing or something. And if with all the sensors that are on the boats, they'd know instantly if there was contact. So there would have been penalty points thrown out there straight away. I don't think Russell's shy of throwing penalty points at the Aussies or anyone actually at the moment, because he's trying to protect his fleet. He doesn't want broken boats everywhere, and we've got that. So there is no spare wing bits at the moment. So that's 100%. There's zero spare wing bits.
Wow.
So they have to create. They have to make a whole new wing.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're madly trying to build a whole new daggerboard case for the Danish team, because
The Danes, yeah.
there was no spare. So that whole case structure got trashed. So, and a new foil, I think, as well. So
they got a bit on. Maybe there's going to be a few boys and girls on the ship.
Yeah.
When all the stuff gets to Brazil.
And if you want to add a new team, they've got to build a new boat, because you remember there's no spare boats, so they really need to ramp up the production facility to start making. But yeah, it's a shame that because the Aussies have coming. They were looking good. Racing was good. It was good. It was good to see the strength of the Canadian team, and I mean the Spanish team look awesome. They won last year, but they look really, really, really,
really good.
really, really good.
So just quickly back to the Aussies.
Yeah,
what the precedent's kind of been set. If there is a breakage, they get average points.
Yep.
Is that been confirmed?
I haven't checked anything this week. I haven't had a spare second. I've been doing my real work.
What's that? Third, second, and thirds.
Yeah, pretty much
for the Aussies. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, it's some pretty good average points. Oh, you'd have to they can't not give it to them. That no fault. They were racing hard. That's what they're paid to do, to be the best.
Yeah,
and I think that Slingsby and his team should be commended. They didn't make contact in very, very tight conditions. They got forced up. He made the decision to pull out at the last possible moment, which is probably, looking at the way your kids are behaving behind you, you should probably have made that decision, pulling out at the last possible.
Oh, in the heat of the moment, it was impossible.
that's good. That might be one of your best, Jordan Spencer.
That's actually up there, Jake. Even I'm laughing.
But so I think from what we've seen, that just brilliant sailing ability, it's a shame, but it gives other teams a chance to shine. Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
So that's probably it from me, gents. I've got a bunch of different notes here and stuff, but I can't read it. I must have been writing it when I didn't have glasses on.
I just want to emphasise that the Hansers and the Liberties and the Scuds and everything, they're racing right now. They're nearly finished. The World Championships are on. The World and International Championships for all those different classes are on, and they're pretty much, I think today might be the last. Well, by the time we go to air, it will be over. But they're sailing on the Pittwater. Royal Prince Alfred is where they're at. Fantastic event, and to all the people racing in that and putting in hard effort. Thanks for everything you're doing, and to all the sailors, best of luck. Yui Fujimoto is leading the way in. There's so many classes. He's leading the way in the Hansa 2.3s. In the 303s, we've got Gortia Brill leading the way there, and that one having a great regatta. The two-person in the 303s, Rory McKenna and Jess Wong from GBR. So it's so many. I think there's like 16 or 18 nations doing well. We've got our friends from Hong Kong, Yuan Wei Fu, leading that one. This is fantastic. And then the Scuds. The Scuds. I've actually sailed the Scud. Have you boys had a go on the Scuds?
Yeah, I'd sailed the Scud. Yeah. Good fun.
Of course you have.
No,
you
Negatoro.
Yeah. I just want to, on the Scuds, Daniel Fitzgibbon, ex-Barcaradian, and Chris Summers in the Pink Pony Scud with a first.
Curse. Got the curse.
He's got the curse. Reverse cursed his way right to the top of that fleet. So congratulations. Great to see. Lovely bloke, Daniel, Queenslander. There's a lot of Queenslanders at the top of that table. The first internationals in fifth. But then all Queenslanders top four. Good times. But that's ongoing. And if you're up that way or near that way, go down and have a bit of a look-see. I think that's probably important to mention. The other thing that would be worth mentioning is that the second leg of the mini globe race has started. So they put all the boats, instead of going across the canal, they throw them on trailers and tow them across, because they're that small. It was pretty easy. And so they're on to leg 2, which is that.
They actually went across on tandem trailers.
They
can actually tip one upside down and put them on top of each other.
So leg 2 is the Pacific, across the Pacific too. So they're heading to Fiji, 7,200 miles. So they are sailing right now. They've been going since, I think, Tuesday. Happy days. Best of luck to everyone. There's there's definitely some diversity in sailing talent in the fleet, but they're having an amazing experience. So very cool. That it, boys?
That's it, fellas.
Yeah, well done.
Been good to catch up.
Lads. Good to have you back, Bicey. Good to have you back.
Yeah. Yep, back home for a little stint before the next journey.
Well, I might see you tonight or tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, might see you tonight or tomorrow. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, I've got to go and jump on the plane. All right. Okay, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks Luigi, for joining. It was fantastic to catch up with you again, my friend. Remember, if you go to Radix Nutrition, use Barcarati as your discount code to get some discount from us, and send us all your notes to cheers@barcarati.com for a chance to win $200 of a Vycobi Cool kit. And BP just rocking out, like it's throwing your
banjo, strumming your guitar.
Haven't heard this song for a while. Just having a bit of a listen.
Get down the local and play.
See you later, ladies and gentlemen.
Go down the local and play tonight.
Have a good week, everyone.
Got a story for you.
Yeah, boys.